good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It's an absolute pleasure to open this webinar to launch the Global Money Week 2025 annual report. Let me begin by expressing my sincere appreciation to everyone who led, participated in, contributed to the 2025 edition of Global Money Week, including South Africa's G20 presidency for its valuable support to the campaign. The OECD, through its International Network on Financial Education, is proud to support Global Money Week each year. Global Money Week is an annual global initiative aimed at raising awareness of the importance of financial literacy for children and young people. Through this campaign, the OECD seeks to assist countries and institutions in providing impartial, objective, high quality and fair financial education to young people all around the world. Year after year, the campaign demonstrates its continued relevance. In 2025 alone, through the Global Money Week campaign, more than 11 million children and young people participated in financial education activities, and a further 110 million adults and youth across 90 countries and territories were reached indirectly through online financial education and financial awareness activities. As many of you know, the OECD recognized financial literacy as an essential life skill for children and young people more than 15 years ago. In 2020, the OECD adopted the Recommendation on Financial Literacy, which calls on countries to take measures to develop financial literacy from the earliest possible age. This reflects the evidence showing that financial habits and attitudes begin to form in childhood, and young people increasingly access and use financial products and services from an early age. Each year, Global Money Week adopts a dedicated theme that highlights a priority topic. In 2025, the theme of the Global Money Week campaign was Think Before You Follow, Wise Money Tomorrow. This theme highlighted the importance of critical thinking and informed decision-making in an increasingly digitalized financial environment. Individuals, and particularly young people, are increasingly exposed to a wide range of influences that shape their financial decisions. Recent evidence from the 2022 OECD Programme for International Student Assessment, otherwise known as PISA, shows that on average across OECD countries and economies, 70% of students reported talking to their parents weekly or monthly about money for things that they wanted to buy, and 64% about their own spending decisions. At the same time, peer influence remains a powerful driver of financial behavior among young people. On average, across OECD countries and economies, around 1 in 5 students reported that their friends strongly influenced their spending decisions, around 20%, and that they felt pressure to keep up with their friends' lifestyle. At the same time, levels of financial literacy among young people remain limited. Results from the PISA 2022 financial literacy assessment indicate that, on average, only 11% of 15-year-old students are top performers in financial literacy, while almost 20% are low performers. Low-performing students struggle with basic tasks such as distinguishing between needs and wants, making simple everyday spending decisions, and understanding common financial documents. Such gaps further heighten young people's vulnerability to misleading information, persuasive marketing, and fraudulent schemes. The rapid rise of financial influencers, commonly known as finfluencers, adds another layer of complexity to the financial environment young people need to navigate. Finfluencers have emerged as a frequent source of financial information, leveraging social media platforms to communicate in informal, engaging, and relatable ways, making complex financial concepts appear simple and actionable. And of course, while accurate and well-designed content can help spark interest in financial topics, the quality of online financial advice and information varies widely. However, the role and influence of influencers also raises consumer protection issues. Social media algorithms tend to amplify content that generates high engagement, meaning that financial advice, regardless of its quality, can rapidly be disseminated to large audiences. Many influencers may lack formal qualifications, and some may provide misleading or incorrect information. Others may promote high-risk products, speculative investments, or other types of product without clearly disclosing commercial partnerships or fully explaining the risks involved. Young people may be particularly vulnerable to such risks due to their limited financial experience and behavioral biases. Social pressure, fear of missing out, and a strong desire to emulate perceived success can all contribute to risky financial decision-making. Improving financial literacy, therefore, is an essential component of broader efforts to protect young people from longer-term financial harm. This year, the theme, Think Before You Follow Wise Money Tomorrow, was meant to encourage young people to question online financial information, particularly from social media influencers, to assess its validity, evaluate online financial advice, and generally to think twice before following different sources. By promoting reflection before action, the theme underscored how digitalization brings both opportunities and risks. Global Money Week participating countries and organizations around the world address these issues through a variety of activities, including workshops, games, competitions, webinars, social media campaigns, lectures, and presentations on various topics. Some inspiring examples addressing the Global Money Week 2025 theme will be shared with us shortly by speakers from Armenia, Honduras, Ireland, and Ukraine. And I'd like to thank all of those speakers in advance for sharing their insights with us. And I would like to conclude, of course, by thanking all of you once again for your amazing participation and support and contribution to Global Money Week 2025. And now I'd like to hand the floor to my colleague, Bianca, who will present this year's Global Money Week annual report. Bianca, over to you.
Thank you very much, Miles, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. I'm working through my slide, just 1 second. Yes, so it's really wonderful to be here with you today to present the annual report of the Global Money Week campaign in 2025 this year. And as Miles concluded with a thank you, I would like to start with a thank you to all of you that have participated in the Global Money Week campaign to make it what it is, a success this year as in previous years, yes, to really show how much you care about financial literacy of young people all around the world. So I would like to start by mentioning that the Global Money Week report for 2025 is now live on the Global Money Week website. So please have a look whenever you have time, today, tomorrow. We have a very exciting and very beautiful looking report. This report provides an overview of the global reach of the campaign, of the activities that were carried out during this year's campaign in March. And it is based, as in previous years, on data which was shared with us by the coordinating national authorities at national level and other organizations that participated in the Global Money Week, showcases also the range of activities, the target groups, the delivery channels which have used during the campaign this year. This report, as well as the campaign in 2025, have shown that even after 14 years of Global Money Week, this campaign remains relevant, and efforts to enhance young people's awareness, knowledge, and behaviors related to financial matters are needed today more than ever. And I would also like to remind everyone that this report presents only highlights, but for a full overview of countries' activities, you are invited to go on the website of the Global Money Week, and under the section of countries, you will find details of each country's participation in the campaign. As a reminder, each year, the Global Money Week campaign adopts a specific theme that highlights the priority issue and is meant to focus the attention of participating organizations on this issue. Through these activities, organizations are invited to deliver content to their target groups, which aligns to the Global Money Week campaign. The theme is chosen by the Global Money Week Secretariat with input and guidance from the Global Money Week Working Group. And I would like to take the opportunity to thank the Global Money Week Working Group members for their leadership throughout the years in supporting the Global Global Money Week Secretariat to implement the Global Money Week campaign. As Miles mentioned, in 2025, the theme was Think Before You Follow, Wise Money Tomorrow. This team wanted to put the focus on the fact that it is difficult for everyone, actually, especially for young people nowadays, to identify reliable information and financial advice. And we know that young people, as many of us, are affected by a variety of influences that can shape their financial decisions, such as parents, but also peers and social media, as was highlighted previously by Miles. We also know that emotions and behavioral biases can lead to poor financial decisions, especially under the pressure of peers or the influence of social media. We have heard as well that influencers have emerged as a frequent source of information for young people in particular, and that they are leveraging these social media platforms to communicate in informal and engaging ways so that they make complex financial decisions and concepts appear simple and actionable to young people. And this is why we decided this year that it was important to highlight that critical thinking and informed decision making are important in this increasing digital financial environment for everyone, but especially for young people. So we've seen, and you will be able to also hear today, but also read in the report, how countries have taken this theme and implemented it in practice and have really developed innovative and context-specific financial education activities to empower young people to think critically about the information that they find online. Going back to the beginning of the campaign, I would like to remind you that the campaign started in March, on the 17th of March, with a virtual event, a global launch, which we organized, in which over 400 participants, practitioners, representatives of public, private sector, NGOs, schools, and so on participated. We had opening remarks that were delivered by the Deputy Secretary General of the OECD, Takeuchi, by the Commissioner of Financial Services and Savings and Investment Union of the European Union, and the Director of Financial Education from IMF Quebec and Chair of the IOSCO Committee on Retail Investors. And they highlighted as well the importance of equipping young people with the skills to navigate today's digital landscape. These remarks were followed by a panel discussion on understanding the role of influencers, of social media and behavioral biases in shaping the financial behavior of young people, which is of course aligned with the theme of the Global Money Week. And of course, the discussion was important, and the recording of the webinar, if you have not managed to see this and you're still interested in this topic, is available. So we encourage you to have a look. In 2025, as it was mentioned by Miles, the Global Money Week was also supported by the South Africa G20 presidency. And we would like to take the opportunity to thank the colleagues from South Africa for their support and also for their participation in the Global Money Week launch. So now moving to the campaign and what happened during the specific week, let's start with the Global Money Week's outreach. This year, the outreach was impressive, as in past years. We've seen participation of organizations and institutions from over 90 countries, in particular 92 countries and territories from all around the world participating in Global Money Week, reaching over 11 million children and young people directly through different activities that they have organized, workshops, webinars, meetings, and so on, games, competitions. We will hear more about this later. Throughout the week, also around 4 million adults, such as parents, teachers, but others have participated in the week. We will also hear examples of how the campaign really reached out to communities and engaged all kinds of different adults in the campaign. And indirectly, through social media, but also through other delivery channels, more than 110 million people were reached directly by the campaign, through the efforts of over 30,000 organizations, of which about 2,000 organizations participated for the first time in the Global Money Week campaign. So these numbers really highlight how the Global Money Week success is about collaboration and is about joint efforts with the one goal of enhancing financial literacy and empowering young people with the skills they need to enhance their financial well-being. So I was talking about the 11 million children which were reached directly by the campaign. And on this slide, you will see that, in fact, the young people which were included in the Global Money Week campaign were young people of all ages, from preschool age children to young people in university and vocational training and everything in between. So the chart on the slide actually shows that the number of countries which have indicated that the specific target group was basically a focus in their jurisdiction. So, for example, in 78 countries and territories, young people in upper secondary education were a target of the Global Money Week campaign. In fact, we see that the two groups for which most countries and territories organized activities were young people in upper secondary education and children in lower secondary education. Many countries also continued efforts to ensure that Global Money Week remains inclusive through involving young people in rural but also urban centers, ensuring a balanced representation in the activities implemented, reaching young people under vulnerable circumstances, and many of you also devoted special attention to those young people with disabilities or learning difficulties or other special needs. This is really impressive, and we are really happy to see that these efforts continue over the years. But Global Money Week is really about not about numbers, but is about young people and their learning, and about your creativity to make this learning engaging, fun, and lasting. And we have seen this year that there has been really a range of activities, and the report really tries to look at these activities and provide a snapshot of what has happened around the world. And activities range from in-classroom financial education lessons, but also to competitions, games, field trips, theater shows, or even marches. So let's have a look at these types of activities through photos. So we start first with some photos that have been shared with us by the national coordinators or participating organizations from around the world. In here, you can see some examples of in-classroom financial education. You can see that students are engaging in financial education topics. You have a range of students of different ages that learn about issues related to the theme, but also basic money management issues. Then Global Money Week 2025 included a range of conferences, of panel discussions, presentations, and seminars. And this was actually a very popular activity because we think the reach the reach that such types of event can have among young people, but also among adults, for example. Then a lot of countries also planned field trips, such as visits to central banks and governments, visit to stock exchanges, visit to money museums, banks, financial institutions, but also universities and businesses, where students also could learn by doing in a practical way and by engaging directly with experts and professionals. Global Money Week also encompassed financial education in the community, such as financial education that was delivered in public areas. This was very exciting for us to see this year, that financial education and Global Money Week went to libraries. They went to like activities were happening in the metros. There were campaigns in public spaces, in parks. There were marches, and really a lot of excitement that was building around financial education and awareness around these issues that involved communities beyond schools and beyond traditional learning centers. Games, competitions, hands-on activities, and quizzes were also a creative activity, or creative way to engage and integrate fun into a learning process. And we see here a range of these activities where organizations throughout the world used board games, digital games, creative writing contests, and so on. And the Global Money Week campaign was also expressed creatively through a music, dance, a social media video contest, drawings. It was really fantastic, and also for us at the Secretariat, it was really impressive to see the range of activities and creativity that all of you have put into the organization of the Global Money Week campaign. And we really thought that it was really nice to share this. Some of these photos with you. You will also see them in the report. And thank you once again for all your efforts. Coming to the delivery channels, we also realized that because of the nature of the theme of the Global Money Week this year, which was about influencers and social media, a lot of the participating organizations have used a particularly creative digital channels to communicate about the Global Money Week. So actually, in addition to the traditional channels that were used in the past, such as television and radio programs, podcasts and webinars, many of you also really made an effort to engage with social media, to engage with trusted influencers and celebrities, and really to reach the target group where they are. So we are talking about being wise on social media. So you really made an effort to go to social media influencers and try to really work with them and reach young people where they are, let's say. And lastly, and very importantly, we will hear about this also during the panel discussion, many of you have made a significant effort in monitoring and evaluating Global Money Week campaign. And we've seen that various of you have gathered feedback on the effectiveness, appropriateness, and engagement of the implemented activities through a wide range of tools, such as, for example, social media monitoring, satisfaction surveys, evaluation forms, and even pre and post tests to understand the effect of specific programs or topics that were taught to children on the occasion of the Global Money Week. And as I mentioned, we will have the opportunity to hear of these concrete examples shortly from our speakers from 4 countries. So to wrap this presentation, I would like to thank everyone once again for participating, to the Global Money Week national coordinators, to all the other organizations that participated in the Global Money Week. And of course, a big thank you to the team at the OECD, which is also working on the campaign this year and in preparation of the next year campaign, starting with Eva, Jenna, Gabrielle, Ophélie, and Chiara, of course. So thank you all, and moving to the next part of the workshop.
Thank you, Bianca. That was already an amazing overview of the breadth of activities that were conducted this year. And now we will have the opportunity to delve a little bit deeper into 4 examples from 4 very different countries and settings. And for this, we have an excellent set of panelists today from Honduras, Ireland, Ukraine, and Armenia. So I would like to start from Honduras. We have Andrea Rosario, who is the head of the Department of Market Discipline, Transparency, and Financial Education at the National Commission of Banks and Insurance of Honduras. And I would like to ask you, Andrea, to tell us a little bit more about how you implemented Global Money Week this year in Honduras, and especially how you managed to work with influencers. The floor is yours.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Can you see my presentation?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Well, it's very early here, so I apologize in advance for any rooster crowing. Well, it's a pleasure to briefly share some of Honduras' key activities, results, and lessons learned during the Global Money Week of this year. Our goal was to promote saving habits, provide trustworthy financial information, and empower youth through interactive learning experiences that combine education and digital communication in order to encourage them to interest in the field, in the financial field, and strengthen their abilities to make responsible and informed economic decisions through the information they receive in social media. So this year, through coordinated efforts with 27 supervised institutions and strategic partners, Honduras implemented multiple activities, such as social media campaigns, in-person and virtual trainings, financial education circuits, mini fairs, and podcasts. And we reached approximately 2.5 million people, with 56% women and 44% men. But we want to focus on the most innovative activity for us, that was the financial influencer contest. These initiatives encourage young people aged 15 to 30 to create educational digital content and become positive influencers within their communities. So the participants could choose topics such as budgeting, saving, financial health, credit use, importance of insurance, entrepreneurship, cybersecurity, and our online financial inclusion. The videos were required to last between 30 seconds to 1.5 minutes, be posted on TikTok and or Instagram with public profiles, including the official hashtags that we as CMBS gave them, tag the CMBS account, and not use paid advertising. These videos were published for approximately 2 weeks. So the earlier the participants shared their content, the more time they had to build reach and engagement. Then the evaluation process began with an internal CMBS review to verify the correct use of hashtags, official account tagging, and video length. This initial validation ensured that only the videos that meet the basic requirements moved forward to the next stage of evaluation. The impact of each video was evaluated based on views and likes using predefined scoring ranges. We asked the participants to, at the end of the period of the 2 weeks, they can share with us their statistics, and we also follow them to know, to see the video, to verify the engagement with their communities, etc. Next, we had an external jury that was composed of 2 Honduran financial education influencers and a well-known television presenter who evaluated creativity and originality, clarity of the financial message, and communication effectiveness. In total, we had 7 participants, 6 were women and 1 was men, submitted 13 educational videos, which they collectively generated 46,509 views and 3,276 likes. But the 3 winning videos alone reached 25,195 views and 1,707 likes in just a short period of time, demonstrated the strong reach and engagement potential of youth-generated content. So, in conclusion, from this experience, we identified several key lessons. First of all, understanding who the activities are aimed at helps design content and formats that connect with young people and reflect their digital habits. Second, different youth segments respond differently. So especially in a rapidly evolving digital environment. So we have to tailor approaches and not just work with uniform strategies. Also, well, youth are powerful multipliers. When young people interact through formats they enjoy, they can amplify financial education message within their own networks. Dynamic activities help translate financial concepts into practical and relatable experiences. So it's better that regulators can and institutions, supervised institutions can use gamified and interactive learning to increase their engagement. And finally, a strong financial knowledge supports informed choices and helps young people avoid digital risks such as scams and misinformation. And that's it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Andrea. That was very inspiring. So I have a quick follow-up question that I will ask you now, but I would invite everybody in the audience to keep their questions, to note their questions for all of our speakers, and then we will have some time at the end of the 4 presentations to discuss a little bit more with them. But before moving on, Andrea, I was just curious because you mentioned collaboration with a number of partners and institutions in Honduras. So how does the Commission ensure that the financial institutions and any strategic partners, that they all work together and align their efforts in providing financial education to young people?
Yes, well, the National Commission of Banks and Insurance has specific regulations for strengthening financial education in the institutions it supervises. So through the financial education standards, supervised institutions are required to develop and implement financial education programs align with their target audiences, allocating resources, budget, responsible personnel, and setting clear objectives. So these programs are approved and reviewed by us semi-annually, encouraging continuous improvement and sustained participation from the financial system and strategic partners. And this approach ensures alignment, continuity, and shared responsibility across the supervised system. So institutions, um, even though they develop their own financial education strategies and activities, they can also actively participate and support national efforts such as Global Money Week.
Thank you. It makes a lot of sense. I'm sure it's a very successful model. Thank you for sharing those extra details. So now I would like to move on to Armenia, because I know that you have also involved influencers in Global Money Week this year. So I'm very happy to introduce Gayan Karatian, who is a financial inclusion specialist at the Central Bank of Armenia. So Gayan, please, I'm really curious to know more about what you have done.
Yes, thank you so much. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's showing a bit small, sorry, on my
I'm sorry. Let
I wonder if you
me.
can make it full.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Otherwise,
Let
we can
me.
see it.
Can you see my screen now?
Perfect. Thanks.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Chiara, for everything. So, hi everyone. My name is Gana Kharatian. Since the Global Money Week is about financial education, especially among the young people, the experience of Armenia will be represented by me. I'm the youngest financial inclusion specialist at the Central Bank of Armenia, and it is my pleasure to be here and represent Armenia's experience and share the projects we implemented and the results we have achieved. The Global Money Week, the 2025 theme was Think Before You Follow, Wise Money Tomorrow, highlights how people consume information on the internet. And today, young people learn about money not only from the textbook, but also from TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and AI generated content is very common nowadays. And it makes very difficult for especially for the young people to distinguish and identify reliable information from the misleading content nowadays. And having this in our mind, we understand that before teaching them how to manage money, how to earn money, or how to pay money, how to use, it's very important for them to have financial security and privacy, not only in a physical world, but also in digital spaces. And having this in mind, we focus on mainly financial frauds and scams, and it becomes the core of Global Money Week activities in Armenia. First project that I want to bring your attention is a social campaign at Yerevan metro station. First, Yerevan metro station is one of the most crowded public places in Armenia, and about 40 to 50 thousand people daily use Yerevan metro. So, firstly, we wanted to implement social campaign in just one metro station, but then we decided to expand the scope of our project, and we posted 19 posters in all 10 stations in Yerevan metro. Yeah, as you can see, the posters have similar designs, and the goal of these designs is that people can easily identify that this is the posters about financial scams. And we all know that when you get the subway in one station, you eventually ended up getting off metro in other station. So if you even at first didn't pay attention the poster in this huge stream of ads in metro, eventually you will end up reading one of them. And you can see we have QR on our posters. This leads people to the video content that we filmed last year about financial frauds and scams. And the next project that I want we want to pay attention is the collaboration with influencers. So we all know, and you already mentioned, that influencers are very powerful now and have many tools, which is their huge audience, and they can or educate people or mislead them. So we wanted to use their power from our perspective, and we collaborated with three very famous Armenian influencers, and they filmed videos about financial frauds and scams. I would love to share or one of the videos to watch, but it's since it's Armenian, it doesn't make much sense. But in their videos, the influencers bring one of the common financial frauds examples, and then telling how to avoid from that scams, and telling the importance of no personal information, when to share your personal information and when not to share. Because especially in Armenia, financial frauds and types of the frauds, it's very common, and it's very important to us, for young people, to identify what are the scams and what are the reliable information. And we had really impressive results. About 500,000 people watched the three videos overall. About 2,000 people shared the videos, so we can assume that at least 2,000 targeted people, young people, get they watch these videos, and we have even a small impacts on them. Yeah, and thank you so much. Feel free to ask questions. These are the two main projects we implemented this year in Armenia.
Thank you so much, Gayan. This was really interesting. And even though, of course, we don't understand Armenian, they looked like they had a very visually appealing design. So I was wondering, so as a central bank, you may have been quite brave in a sense to decide to partner with influencers. So I wanted to ask you, how did you select them, or how did you work with them to make sure that you were avoiding any reputational risks, and that to ensure the credibility of the messages and of the campaign? Can you tell us a bit more?
Yes, of course. Thank you for the question. Of course, influencers have really powerful tools, but also they contain many risks, as you mentioned, reputational risk. And we selected our three influencers based on, first of all, we pay attention that they don't have associations with different commercial banks in Armenia or other financial institutions. We research their past content and understand that they always share reliable and educational content that is acceptable from the central bank perspective. And the third criteria that I can mention is their we watched, are they share our values, and we paid them a very small amount of money from the market range, and they accepted it and decided to collaborate with them. So they shared our values, and they wanted to have a change in financial um, education. So these are the main criteria that we take into account.
Okay, thanks a lot. I still have lots of questions, but maybe I will keep them for later. And I see that, yeah, I also see that some questions are going through the Q&A, so please keep those questions coming and we can address them later. So now I would like to move to Ireland and give the floor to Muriel Dolan, who is the Deputy Director of Communications at the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission of Ireland. And so I had a preview of their program some months ago during our working group meeting, and that was very interesting. So I would really like to give the opportunity to Muriel to tell all of you what they've done in Ireland this year. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Can you see my screen?
Perfect.
Brilliant. And you've done a good introduction, Chiara, so I'm not going to repeat that. Just to set out what our role is, we're the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission in Global Money Week. So it's twofold. We're the national coordinator, but also we deliver our own initiatives, which I'm going to speak about in a moment. We also participate, obviously, in the OECD Global Money Week Working Group, but we also chair our own working group under our National Financial Literacy Strategy. And this is our first National Financial Literacy Strategy, which was only launched in February of this year. So Our Money, Our Future was a pilot project for last year and this year in the school year. And we sponsored schools from around Ireland. So we wanted the students to come up with initiatives or projects around financial literacy. We wanted them to develop real life skills. We wanted them to be creative and to be sustainable. And also we wanted them to be aligned as much as possible with the EU OECD Financial Competency Framework. We also had a launch event that brought a lot of students together from around Ireland and policymakers. And you'll see here that we have our Minister for Finance at the Department of Finance. We also have our chairperson, and there was a lot of other stakeholders around at the event, and they were interacting with students on the day. However, when we got our commission to approve this project, and it was, as I mentioned, it was a pilot project last year, they asked us to do an evaluation. So we did 2 evaluations. We did an internal evaluation, and then we did an external evaluation. So the information that we looked at on the internal evaluation is the number of applications we received from schools, and as you can see, was 113. We actually sponsored 86 schools around Ireland to the value of 84,000. We can see that so many counties around Ireland participated. There was really good participation from all over Ireland. There was nearly 11,000 direct participants in actually developing the projects, but also when you look at the indirect beneficiaries, it came to almost 27,000 people that were either indirectly or directly affected. Then we just looked at the cost, and the cost per unit for the direct beneficiaries was €24, and for the indirect beneficiaries then it was €9 per person. We did a procurement process to get an external evaluation consultancy company to look at it from an external perspective. And these are, we just pulled out some of the main highlights from the research or from the surveys. So 90% of the teachers said it was increased students' understanding of financial concepts, financial issues. 89% said that students were very positive around financial literacy. Also, 68% of the teachers said that it helped them understanding financial literacy, and 99% of the teachers said that they would recommend this again. Now, we also got many testimonials from many teachers, and one of them is highlighted there. If we go into a little bit more in-depth in the report. The ones in green I've already highlighted, but let's look at some more. 81% said there was a large increase in students' financial literacy skills. 67% said there was significant positive impact on schools' financial literacy culture, which we were really, really happy with. 51% said it improved teachers' confidence in delivering financial education, and 71% generated resources or materials that could be used again. So they were bringing in the sustainable piece into it as well. Then we had other findings. I'm not going to go through them all in detail. For example, 27% of teachers built on something they were already doing. So there was already projects that was going on in the school, and they were able to align this project with financial literacy element. 82% of schools showcased their initiatives, which we were really happy about because we showcased them as well, but the schools were able to do it at a local level. And 56% of teachers said that they used the EU OECD financial competency framework. Under our National Financial Literacy Strategy, we have a monitoring and evaluation working group, and they're actually developing a tool that can be used across the board in Ireland, no matter what age, whether it's for adults or young people. So it's a toolkit that we hope to be able to use when we're actually evaluating the current cycle of our Money, Our Future programme. And finally, what was the outcome? Because of the evaluations that we did both internally and externally, our commission members said that we can now have it on an annual basis. So the initiatives are annual, but also so is the Global Money Week event. So we're always going to do an event to be able to showcase the projects and our initiatives, because we found that was very important for the students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Muriel, for sharing not only the details of the program, but also what went on in the background and all the details of the evaluation. I think it's really interesting that you tried to also calculate the cost-benefit analysis in monetary terms. That is something that is quite rarely done and certainly very, very helpful. So I was just wondering, so given all this, let's say, full cycle that you have presented and how you're going to move and use those results in the future and continue this evaluation. So I was wondering, how are you using the recommendations and the findings from this evaluation? Is this already feeding into the programs that you are implementing, or will it continue to be useful in the future?
Yeah, there was a lot of recommendations and we're trying to implement them all. Some of them, for example, one of the recommendations was that 30 to 40% of the sponsorship should go on educational disadvantaged schools. So this year for the 2025-2026 school year, 37% of them are educational disadvantaged schools. So we were happy to be able to implement that. Also, there was a recommendation to try and get schools to align the skills and behaviours more explicitly with the EU OECD financial competency framework. So as I mentioned in the survey, 56% of schools said that they did use them. So what we have done this year to ensure that more use them is we actually have put it into the application form and say that it will be part of the evaluation when we're looking at the projects, because we do give about 6 to 8 winners across the board. So when we evaluate them, not only evaluate the application process, but also when we're evaluating who we think is the best project. They're all great projects, but someone has to be a winner. Also, they asked us, could we have, if we were going to do it again, to go out earlier to schools. So we went out earlier this year. We went out in May before the end of the school year, so teachers could be preparing for September when they came back. So they're just a couple of the ones. We've introduced as many as we can.
Okay, thanks. Wow, you're really preparing well in advance. That's really great. Thank you, Muriel. And last but not least, we're going to Ukraine. So we've kept you as the cherry on the cake, in a sense. So I would like to give the floor to Victoria Rolig, who is Principal Expert for Public Relations and Financial Awareness in the Communications Department of the National Bank of Ukraine. So Ukraine, as you may know, they've been doing Global Money Week for a long time, and especially they've been able to continue doing it during the war. So this is already quite amazing. So please, Victoria, can you tell us more about the campaign this year? Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon, dear colleagues, partners, and friends. And first of all, thank you to the all organizers and all the participants for the inspiring insights and initiative you shared today. It is an honor for me to join this event and contribute to our shared mission of empowering children and youth with financial literacy. And it is a great honor for me to represent Ukraine here today to share our experience and key initiatives implemented during Global Money Week 2025. And as Chiara already kindly mentioned, that Ukraine first joined Global Money Week initiatives in 2013, so more than 10 years ago. And since then, we've been part of this global movement, except for the 2 years, 2020, this is due to COVID, and then in 2022, because it was the beginning of the full-scale invasion to our country. This year, despite the ongoing war, Ukraine successfully conducted Global Money Week for the 11th time. And this continuity is extremely important for us because financial literacy is not only about knowledge, as you mentioned before, but for Ukrainian children today, it is also about resilience, hope, and the belief that they have future worth planning for. So let me share with you the general overview of Global Money Week 2025 in Ukraine. So the national coordinator of Global Money Week is the National Bank of Ukraine. And this year, as several years before, the campaign lasted for 2 weeks in the end of March. And this was the largest one in our history. So the total number of participants doubled compared to 2024 and reached more than 240,000 people. So these were children, youth, teachers, and adults. And if we count the overall indirect reach, it exceeded almost 500 million people. So we include normally preschoolers, primary and secondary school students, teachers, and parents across all regions of Ukraine. And it is important for us also to include internally displaced children and those temporarily living abroad. All in all, we collaborated with more than 3,500 schools and organizations. And now I would like to highlight our key initiatives and activities. So our Global Money Week program included dozens of activities conducted together with ministries, schools, NGOs, and different partners. And one of our flagship events was the Financial Literacy Forum, the largest educational conference on financial literacy in Ukraine. And we conducted it for the second time. And this year we spoke about financial literacy at schools. It may be interesting to know that this year, the new 2-year school course, Entrepreneurship and Financial Literacy, became mandatory starting from this September. Another major initiative was presentation of a new financial literacy textbook for students of 8th grades, developed by the experts of the National Bank of Ukraine and officially recommended by the Minister of Education and Science. I will give you some more details about it in the next slide. Then we also had a new competition for students, which is called Financial Literacy Championship. This is how we introduce edutainment, education and entertainment. Of course, we participate in European Money Quiz, and this year I'm very proud to share that our team was among top 10 players. Generally, we arranged lots of competitions and events for schools, and traditionally, we provide a series of webinars by NBU specialists and partners. At this slide, you can see some pictures from our events. So this is the first one to the left, are the finals of this championship for the students at the building of the National Bank of Ukraine with their teachers from all regions of Ukraine. Then you can also see the cover of the textbook. To the right, you see the picture from the conference for teachers, including representatives from Central Bank, Ministry of Education and Science, and Deposit Guarantee Fund. And the last picture, you can see the excursion to our Money Museum in Kiev. And now let me briefly walk you through the initiative. I promised to tell you more, and this is the one we are very proud of. So this is introducing financial literacy at schools as a separate obligatory 2-year course. And we are very grateful to our Minister of Education and Science for this opportunity. So the subject in Ukraine is called Entrepreneurship and Financial Literacy, and it is for the students of 8 and 9 grades. And the basement for the course is the textbook, and the team of authors from the National Bank of Ukraine created one and presented it at the open competition for teachers to choose. So we were not the only one. And the textbook received the necessary approval by the Minister of Education and Science and was printed in more than 100,000 copies. Unfortunately, financial literacy is not taught at universities, so to make it possible for teachers to master it and train the students, we created the whole set of materials, a 2-year curriculum, then a textbook itself. It has an electronic supplement, a workbook with exercises, a teacher's guide, then presentations for the classroom use, and final knowledge assessment. And we also invested strongly in teacher support. More than 35,000 teachers completed our online training and received certificates. I saw the questions about certificates, and I recognize that certificates are very important for all participants worldwide. And actually, thanks to the curriculum and the materials we created, nearly 400,000 students will be studying financial literacy systematically with modern tools and real-life cases. Of course, there are some challenges, and on this slide you can see our main character. This is Money Man, so he participates in our Global Money Week, and he is dressed in military clothes. And on the picture below, you can see kids at the financial literacy lesson, which is going on from a bomb shelter. Well, but despite the challenges, we continue adopting and find new ways to reach children and teachers, because financial literacy today is part of our long-term resilience and rebuilding plan. And we are already planning for Global Money Week 2026. Our focus will remain on strengthening the school curriculum, supporting teachers, expanding competitions for youth, and ensuring that every child, no matter where they live or study, has access to quality financial education. And in closing, I want to thank all our partners, volunteers, teachers, and international colleagues who stand with Ukraine and support our efforts. Thank you for your solidarity, collaboration, and your trust. And thank you for the opportunity to share our experience today. Together, we are shaping a financially literate, resilient, and empowered generation. So thank you for the attention, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Victoria. That was sorry, very inspiring as usual. So you mentioned the importance of the continuity of Global Money Week and of of financial education more broadly in Ukraine. So do you have any tips or inside knowledge on how did you manage to do this, not only to continue conducting Global Money Week, but also, as we were discussing before, how also increasing the number of participants?
Thank you for your question, Chiara. So Ukrainian young people are growing up in an extremely challenging environment, and where economic risks and fraudulent schemes are changing very rapidly. This is why it is crucial to teach children and teenagers that key principles of financial literacy, so that they can recognize fakes, check information sources, and take responsibility for their own financial decisions. And to make it possible, we include Global Money Week and other initiatives, first of all, in our national financial literacy strategy. So each year we try to add new initiatives, and we go on with the existing ones. So we have something new for 2026, and teachers know that there will be something with that they can align, and they can include it in their plans. So this is very important, that it's like in a relationship, you stay committed, and then, well, the audience also likes to participate. And we see that annually the number of participants increases, because they realize that there is a strong institution like the central bank who is willing to support it, and it is fixed in the documents. And it is the really experience that will be useful for kids. And then another compliment goes also to the parents who support that financial literacy should be taught at school. So this is it.
Thank you, Victoria. Indeed, all of those elements are very important. The institutional support, but also the support from families and teachers and school is it's so very important to have this complementarity. So there is a one more question for you, Victoria, in the chat, in the Q&A. So a colleague is asking what happened to the donor and if there is a replacement, and they're saying that the level of your work is fabulous.
Yeah, you know, probably you are well informed with what is going on in Ukraine right now. So the donor mentioned is the USAID, well, which stopped its existence, and they actually helped us a lot with Global Money Week and with the textbooks, well, some years before. But this year, so no more USAID. So this is why we rely on our own forces and the forces of our partners who help us internationally, as well as OECD, and we are members of some projects in the international groups, but also our banks and our financial sector stays committed. And this is, of course, the strong belief and also the support we have from the head of our central bank believes that financial literacy is important. And we always coordinate also with our ministries of education and science, with our Ministry of Economy, with our Deposit Guarantee Fund, and we try to build this community, which will go on even if the people stop working, because sometimes, well, they change places, but it is important, and the strategy is really important because it fixes the obligations and fixes the commitment. And hopefully, well, this is useful.
Thank you so much. I think this will provide impetus to everybody who is listening. We do have some more time for questions. So if anyone in the audience would like to take the opportunity and ask more of our speakers, please do so. You can use the Q&A function. In the meantime, I can keep the questions. I can ask the questions that I was keeping from before. So I wanted to ask to Andrea and Gayan, because both of you mentioned that you worked with influencers. So I was curious to know, now that you have built this relationship, and especially as you were saying, Gayan, you now sort of vetted some of those influencers. Are you planning to continue working with them in the future, or was that a one-off because of the Global Money Week theme? So how do you see this going forward?
Okay, I can start. Thank you for the question. Collaborating with the influencers is was very interesting job. Because in Armenia, we don't have much financial influencers. They are mostly like overall influencers. And we would love to collaborate with them, but there is a nice trend that I can see. Most of our influencers started to speak much more about financial topics, even without collaborating and without chatting with us. But now I can see that especially these three influencers are starting to speak about even savings, how to spend money, how to manage, and they started to change their financial behavior, and they told us about that. And they are not only changing their behavior, but also they share their experience, and they share how do they started to save, how do they started to learn about investment and try to invest in different assets. And it's very nice for us, and even they do not collaborate with us closely, they adopted that knowledge and now share with everyone.
Thank you very much. That's interesting that it's also having an impact on the influencers themselves. That's a very positive development. Let me check if Andrea.
By the way, I'm so sorry. I didn't mention that we plan to teach them and with the TOT method, we want to collaborate with them and engage many more influencers if our resources allow us. Yeah, but we have plans.
Very good to hear. Thank you. Let me check if Andrea, did you want to come in on and add anything on this point?
We are still finalizing to define the activities for the Global Money Week of 2026, but we think that we will continue with this activity. We have also worked with youth in other activities such as Financial Literacy Olympics with young people from 11th grade of public and private schools. And also we have also made micro contact competitions. It's similar to the influencer contest, but this is they actually do like short videos, but they don't publish in their social media. But yes, we definitely are going to continue to work with young people.
Okay, thanks a lot. It seems that I have lots of space for questions, so I will exploit my role as moderator and maybe ask one more question. It's a very open question, so anyone who wishes, feel free to take it. So I was just wondering, how do you ensure that all the programs that you have described, how do you ensure that you're really doing something that is targeted and interesting and engaging for the young people? How do you take the pulse on what is going to be interesting for them? How do you know?
If I can come in there, Chiara, if that's all right. I think that's something we're going to look at across the board on all our initiatives. But on this one, that's why the evaluation was, I think, really, really helpful to us. But I don't think we're going to have to do it on a yearly basis, and we know that, or at least every 2 years, because things change. And I think what we have tried to do is, I think our commission was really good to approve it on a yearly basis, because then teachers know it's coming year on year. And I think the annual event had a huge part of really making the students feel part of it, and they felt listened to, and they saw that what they did was highlighted. And I think that's a really, really good way of trying to keep them engaged, listening to what the teachers are saying. And we have tried to implement any feedback we've got. We've tried to implement it for this year's course. So that's what we're trying to do. We had a school that weren't even involved in any of this develop a poster, and they sent it up to us, and we have it on our wall. And it's about, it's just called, the financial watchdog, and it's all hand painted, and we just put it up on our wall, and we sent them a photograph of it, and we're sending them a letter from our chairperson thanking them. So it's just, even, I know that's that's one school, that's a very simple thing to do, but it just encourages them. And I think the ongoing evaluation process is going to help us. And where we feel like if the numbers start to drop, the number of schools start to drop, well, then we know there's something wrong. But just that's how we're going to keep our finger on the pulse, is just evaluated on a yearly basis. And obviously the evaluation needs to be, and that's what we found, that's why we really did get external help this year, is teachers are very busy. So we had to measure what we were asking them in terms of their time to be able to respond to us. 85% of teachers responded to us on time to be included in the survey. All the others did respond to us, but just not on time. So it's evaluating, but it's keeping a balance in terms of what you're asking them so that they have the time to fill it out. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. It's really great to have this two-way relationship and keep the channel open to hear feedback on what's going on the ground. Victoria, I saw you raise your hands, please.
Yes, I did it not virtually, but manually. Well, just like our colleagues from Ireland, we also try to use different tools to measure what is interesting for the students. And last year we did a nice big survey because we were introducing this subject at school, and we needed to know, to understand what children need and if they are motivated and how to increase this motivation. And I could share with you some the results. Probably it will be interesting to compare if it is the same story in your country. So the topic number one, this remains very for a long time whenever we ask kids. So they are all interested in how to earn their first money. Then topic number two, this is personal budget. Number three, they are interested how to save money for a dream. Number four is about how not to fall victim to a fraud. Then they are also interested in how to get a bank or payment card because they are already teenagers and they are allowed to have their personal payment cards and how to use it. And then motivation, it's very interesting. So of course, naturally, why kids are interested in learning financial literacy. And we see that almost 80% of kids, they are naturally interested in financial literacy. So no need to extra motivate them. So what they want to do, they want to achieve their personal goals, traveling or buying something. Point number two, they would like to start their own business. And then what we liked very much and that they want to to help their parents with finances. And this is why they need a good job, well, to be financially resilient. Girls are more interested in higher education and they would like to travel more. But boys are more interested in having passive income. And this is what we use to make financial literacy interesting and motivating for them. But of course, communicating with teachers. So we conduct regular webinars and we ask them, so basing on your experience, how do you rate this and this? And then, so it's already half of the year that our teachers has been working with students. And we ask them one very tricky question. For example, we know at the beginning if students were motivated and we ask them after this half a year, how has it changed? Are there any those who feel demotivated probably, or vice versa, those who didn't want to study financial literacy but are excited now? And we see that there are two types of answers. So kids interested and they remain interested, want to go on studying financial literacy. And then this second type that some of them didn't want to speak about financial literacy, maybe shy, or maybe didn't want other people to ask them if they have some money issues. But now they are all feel excited and we are very happy with these results and we hope it will go on.
Thanks a lot for sharing this, Victoria. I was quite impressed that the order of priorities that you mentioned was first earn the money, then to how to save it, and then how to spend it. So it was this must be kids who have been following your messages very closely. So let me check if Andrea and Gayan, anything else you would like to add on this point? No? Okay. Okay, well, I think that was a very interesting set of presentations and discussions. So it was really a pleasure to moderate this, and I thank you very warmly for this. And now I will give the floor to my colleague Bianca, who will, of course, tell us a little bit more, like a sneak preview of what's coming next for 2026. Bianca, over to you.
Thanks so much, Chiara, and thank you to everyone for this very interesting discussion. I am really always so inspired by all the work that you are doing at the national level, and this gives us at the Secretariat so much energy to keep on going on financial education and the work that we do. So thank you all for inspiring us. with your efforts at national level. And it's really a nice segue because some of you have mentioned that you have already started to work on the Global Money Week 2026, which will take place between 16 and 22 of March. So if you, for those that are listening, if you have not saved the date yet, please do. And I will just give you a very brief overview of what's to come. So first, let me mention that the Global Money Week theme will be, it has been announced, and it is Smart Money Talks. You would wonder, what is this theme about and why did you choose it? Well, basically, this theme is very simply about breaking the taboo about of speaking about money. And I have to mention that us at the Secretariat were inspired to put forward this theme also by the discussions with the Global Money Week Working Group, but also for the first time this year, we have engaged with the OECD's Youth Advisory Board, which is called the YouthWise, which is a group of young people from all around the world that provide advice on different policy areas to the OECD committees and also to the work that we do. So they have basically inspired us by telling us that even after, we have the impression that people talk about money, that it's okay, that we have raised awareness, but still for many of them, it is difficult to ask difficult questions and to really ask help when they need it. So we know, of course, all of us, that young people's financial lives are full of financial decisions, from earning their first money to managing their student loans, understanding investment, watching out for scams, as we heard from the colleagues, keeping track of their spending, keeping up with friends, talking about social pressure and peers pressure. Yet at the same time, for many of them, it feels daunting to talk about personal finances sometimes, as stressful. So this is why they don't feel confident to ask money-related questions, or they don't know who they should ask questions about. And they may feel afraid or ashamed to ask about their money problems. So this theme, actually, this year, 2026, which is also going to be the 15th Global Money Week anniversary, wishes to encourage young people to speak up, to share stories, to ask questions about money to the right people. And in this way, we hope that they can get the confidence and the skill they need to manage their money wisely. So we also would like to encourage you all to take on this challenge and speak up to young people about their money questions, and why not also about their money worries. And as a support to all of you who will be participating in Global Money Week 2026, you see on the right-hand side of the slide here, we have prepared a document which is based on the EU OECD core competencies on financial literacy for children and young people. And this document highlights the financial competencies which are related to the Global Money Week theme in 2026. You will find this document is a very brief document under the resources tab on the website. And this document indicates the types of issues, topics, competencies that are related to this theme that organizations which will plan to participate in the Global Money Week can try to address through their various activities. And of course, talking about the resources, as every year we are starting, and we have started already to work on the various resources that you can use in preparation of the campaign. First of all, we have the Global Money Week brochure, which some of the language versions have already been updated and they are online. So we will have the brochure available in English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. This is a document which provides a snapshot of the Global Money Week campaign, and which everybody can use to promote the campaign with potential stakeholders. For example, you want some stakeholders to buy in, to support you during your Global Money Week campaign. You want a brief document to explain what the week is about. You can use the Global Money Week brochure. Then we are working on updating the Global Money Week toolkit. This will be available in early January. And this is an important resource because it provides an explanation in detail about what Global Money Week is, how you can participate, how you can coordinate with various stakeholders, what is the role of private and not-for-profit stakeholders, what can they do, what can they not do, because remember, we encourage always that Global Money Weeks are coordinated at national level by national coordinators, and they're free of marketing, advertisement of financial products, and so on. It also shows how to engage and how to report to the Secretariat, and of course provides a range of various examples of activities that countries can implement at national level. Then, of course, as you all know, we have the Global Money Week branding guidelines, which are the same branding guidelines that you are used to from the past years as well. So they show how to use the logos of the Global Money Week campaign and how to basically brand your materials during the Global Money Week campaign. And the Global Money Week social media toolkit, which we are working on and will be ready also in January. It provides guidance on how you can leverage social media to enhance the campaign's reach at national level and international, and how to connect with us at the Secretariat. And just to give you also a sneak preview of what's to come, we will also plan to organize a preparatory webinar on this topic in January. So stay tuned on that. We have heard from many of you that this is an issue that you'd like to learn more about and leverage. So we will work on it and get back to you with more details. So now looking forward to Global Money Week 2026. For those that have already started to work on the campaign and you already know what are your plans, you can let us know by filling up the pre-campaign form. And you can, of course, start already to promote the Global Money Week campaign on social media so we can see what you're working on, what you're doing. And we encourage you to use all the hashtags, the Global Money Week Smart Money Talks, Global Money Week 2026, and GMW2025. And if you have any questions, of course, you can get in touch with us at the Secretariat. We'll be happy to support you, have calls with you, and help you prepare as you advance in your thinking. And finally, I would like to conclude with a date. And the next important date for the launch of the Global Money Week is the 16th of March. That's exactly the day where we will be launching the Global Money Week, in a virtual form through a webinar, and more details will follow. In the meantime, we wish you all good preparations. We wish you all success. Please get in touch with us if you have any questions. And thank you once again in advance for all your commitment and participation to the Global Money Week over these past years. So with this, I give the floor to you, Chiara. Thanks.
Thank you, Bianca. I think we can conclude. Thank you very much for following this webinar. As Bianca said, if you have any questions about the organization of the next campaign, please be in touch with the Secretariat. Thank you all, and wishing all of you a good holiday break if your country is taking holidays in this period. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.